George, India is a very religious country, and do you think the interrogators in torture cases can figure out quickly what's right and what's wrong?
Well, I'm sure they know going into the circumstance of their employment that they're going to be dealing with gray areas, and they have to rationalize it for themselves. It's not just the civil laws, but the moral conflicts that come with the job. Anyone that goes into that with their eyes closed and is somehow shocked by their requirement to inflict pain on another human being has got to be naive, to say the least. So I presume they know what they're doing, and they've raised or at least faced the moral issues based on their religious beliefs going into it. How they rationalize it, I don't know. It's difficult to put yourself inside the head of another human being. It's difficult for me to comprehend how someone can rationalize the inflicting of pain, even when it's state-sanctioned. And clearly, these interrogators are employees of government institutions, and their employers are telling them it's okay to go ahead and extract information by the following means. In the case of India, I don't know whether it's more excessive, whether the rules are more flexible than they are in the United States, whether the interrogators have more permissive rights to inflict pain and suffering. I'm not familiar with the details, but I think the moral question that you raise cuts across all societies and all human beings around the world.
One thing we just when we look at India, because it went on for so long in its attack on the Sikhs, that I think the time in which it's allowed to continue helps it continue. I think people become immune to their own feelings if they continue to engage in that kind of activity.
Who gets immune, to people or the interrogators?
No, the interrogators. The interrogators. You know, to perform a terrible act the first time is really horrible, but after that, what do they call it? The slippery slope. The more times you do something, no matter how distasteful it is, the easier it becomes, and we find that in times of war all the time.
In the Indian context, rather, the situation is more dangerous. As per Hindu religious belief, they consider whole of India as a Bharat Mata, which is the Mother India, and Mother India is the incarnation of Goddess Kali, and Goddess Kali is where she is after demons. And when the Indian system describes Sikhs, Muslims, Christians, tribals and all, and they justify by saying that here is unity and integrity of India, which is the unity and integrity of Bharat Mata, which means Goddess Kali. And here are these malechas or dirty people, those who are trying to violate the religious sanctity of Goddess Kali. So it's not only that in individual cases there is an approval, but even majority community in toto approves of. And that is why when we look at now death sentence to 12 or 13 Muslims in Bombay blast cases, and death sentence to 2 Sikh youngsters just 2 days ago in Byan Singh assassination case. Look at the editorials of all of Indian media appreciating Indian system, that they deserve death and they all. But in other cases like Delhi, where in November 84 thousands of Sikhs were burnt alive, and show the Bombay blast where thousands of Muslims were killed after demolition of Babri Mosque, no justice. So I think in India it's not only individual religious spirit which is for or against, but in collectivity the majority community supports that these minorities, they deserve the fate, whether it is through torture, killing or elimination, liquidation, whatever ways.
What's your take, George?
Well, I think we're getting beyond the questions of the dilemmas faced by interrogators to state-sponsored terrorism or state-sponsored torture. Once the state sponsors it, whether it's for religious reasons or civil reasons, or as in the case of North Korea, self-protection, at that point, the ends justify the means, and there are no limits to the torture. You can kill people to extract the information that you want in those systems. It's accepted. I make that distinction. If you want to talk about how do they find individual interrogators to carry out the will of the state? Well, it's a lot easier if the state, your boss, says it's perfectly all right to do it and we're going to pay you good money to do it. In our society where I think Bob made the point that particularly in the military, people come back to civilian life after duty in the military, and then they have to face this civilian world where torture is not an acceptable means of behavior, and yet they've had to engage in that. Yes, those are very conflicted people.